Bold predictions are something we do on this show because I want you to have the platform to espouse all of these beliefs you have so fervently that you claim you would bet your own money on them. First up, try this one on for size. Derek from Tampa, Florida says, despite your venom towards the Gator fans and love for the Hurricanes, Florida will have more wins than Miami. First thing I want to say to you, Derek, is I love you, and go Gators. The next thing I want to say to you is I don't think this is going to happen. So 8.75 is what I pegged this on the boldness scale. Florida's preseason win total's 5.5. Miami is 7.5. Last year was the first time that both of these programs had a losing record since, anybody? 1979. That's just 2 years after Rumors came out by Fleetwood Mac. Greatest album of all time. Worst season of all time, followed 2 years later in Gainesville and Coral Gables. Florida has 4 opponents with a preseason win total of 9.5 or higher. Miami has 2. Miami has the edge at quarterback. I think Miami will win more games than Florida this year, so I think this is wrong. However, it wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world if I was wrong and this was right, so I'm making it at 8.75. Next up, and this prediction comes with its own custom post-it from producer Jesse. Ashton from Wichita, Kansas, said Iowa will have a top 5 defense and win double-digit games this year. Iowa has the number 1 defense in college football in preseason S&P+. So them having a top 5 defense wouldn't be a surprise at all. They've been top 28 years in a row. The intel we get from fall camp is they may have the best defensive line they've had in several years under Kirk Ferentz. Then there's the schedule. And this is how we figure out how they win 10 games. So I have right here, stuck to my index finger, I have a list of the teams Iowa plays this year, and I have their offensive S&P Plus numbers. S&P Plus, for those unfamiliar, that's Bill Connolly's metrics and rating system. Very, very reliable, very dependable. I think most forward-thinking people in the industry have shifted towards using that over traditional stats. So listen to this. Again, you can go look up Iowa's schedule anytime you want to. I want to read you the list of offenses they're going to play. 111th, 74th, 118th, 22nd, 56th, 45th, 41st, 63rd, 126th, 58th, 83rd, 99th. There is one offense on their schedule in the preseason S&P Plus top 40 offensively. Ugh, gross. So Iowa could very much just pitch shutouts this year. Iowa may need to score about 13 points to win some of these games. They may win and cover if they score 17. So I'm going to make this a 7.75. The prediction was Iowa has a top 5 D and they win double-digit games. That is not the craziest thing in the world. Given this schedule, given the total grossness of some of these offenses, and given how good they could be defensively again this year. All right, next up. No offense to any offenses in the Big Ten, by the way. Next up, from Virginia Beach, Virginia. That's where Holden comes to us, and he says, Washington State will upset Washington in the Apple Cup. This is where we need licensing for Sarah McLachlan, because this will be a Sarah McLachlan special no matter what. It is full Arms of an Angel mode. It is the last game maybe in this rivalry. I don't know they've announced they're going to renew the rivalry or anything like that. Washington State may just drift off into the Pacific. The Pac-12 may drift out right along with them. Plate tectonics is a crazy thing in college football, man. It's happening as we speak. So Washington has won 7 of 8 in this matchup. The last one-possession game in the Apple Cup was 2012. How is that possible? But it is. Washington State's preseason win total 6.5. Washington, 9.5. The game's at Washington. Now, the one thing that Washington State does have going for it is the lead up to the game. They play Stanford, at Cal, and Colorado on a Friday. So not only do they have some of the bottom portions of the Pac-12 barrel, they get long rest before they go play at Washington. Now, Colin, tell me, do we have Washington's schedule in there? Because the Huskies have a much more difficult road. They go at USC, Utah, at Oregon State. last 3 games before they play Washington State. So that's one edge. But, man, you're going up there to Seattle. You're playing a much better team. I don't know what injuries have done to either one of these by that point. Also, they're replacing so much at wideout for Washington State. I made this a 9. It's so hard to see that far out. If the game were played today, I made that a 9. Last up, from Camden, with a clover in his name, from Austin, Texas, Camden said Marcus Freeman wins Coach of the Year. Well, no one's ever done this with less than 10 wins. So let's just assume Notre Dame needs 10 wins. Brian Kelly did this twice. Twice, 2012, 2018. So we've seen an Irish head coach do it 2 times in the last decade-ish. The win total's 8.5, so it's not too far out of the realm of possibility for them to win 10 games. But here's the thing. For them to win 10, maybe they pull an upset or two. Maybe they beat Ohio State at home. Maybe they beat USC at home. And the USC game may not be an upset at all by the time they play it. They go to Clemson late in the year. Maybe they pull that one off. Maybe they wreck a couple of people's conference title and playoff dreams and also win 10 games in the process. A 10-2 Marcus Freeman with a big-time statement win over an Ohio State or on the road at Clemson, that may be enough to get him in there, especially if we live in a world where there's a lot of chaos out there and there's no truly dominant team, and we also don't have a TCU or a Cincinnati Cinderella team. I could see it. However, it is really hard to call your Coach of the Year shot in August. And so I'm going to make this a 9. And it's normally unlikely that I say it's a 9, but I could also see it. But this is a 9, yet I could also see it.